Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. In this video, I would like to take us back to the beginning, to the foundation. So I would like to show you how to draft your basic bodice or how to draft a basic blouse or a basic top. Okay, so it's an interesting one, so please sit and enjoy. Okay, so I'll be using the pattern paper. Okay, then we'll measure from your shoulder to the prominent parts of your bust, which is called the bust point, and I'll be using 10.5 for this. Then after the bust point, you measure the under bust, and the under bust is 14 inches that I'll be using for this. So it depends on what to measure on yourself. Okay, then we'll now go to the waistline, which is 17 inches. I'll be using 17 inches for the waistline. And now the top length. Okay, we are making a top. So the top length, your desired top length, you measure it, then you add hemming allowance. Hemming allowance, that's what you use and fold. So I'll be connecting these dotted lines with straight line, just as you see me. So that's the bust point, the under bust, the waistline, the top length, and the hemming. So now back to the top. For the neckline, I measure 3 inches for the width, and for your shoulder also, I'll be using a shoulder of 14 inches divided by 2. That's 7 plus 1 inch for ease. Okay, plus half inch for ease. Okay, the ease is optional. If you know you are going to add, then before that, let's go to our armhole. So in order to measure your armhole, you're going to divide your bust round divided by 6 plus 1.5. So that is what will help you in achieving this line now that I just marked. Your bust round divided by 6 plus 1.5. Whatever you get, that's what you use to decide that part. So I just make sure this line is going to be a straight line. So that's why I have to cross check again. Okay, so and this line here is going to serve as your chest line, which we're going to rule later. But this is your armhole. So this armhole now, you find the midpoint, then you come in by 3/4 inch, and 3/4 I mean 0.75. Then you create your curve, which you call the armhole curve. If you like, you can come in by half inch, it depends. So for the neck now, the standard we use here is 3 by 3 inches. 3 inches width and 3 inches in depth also. Then you create this. This is just a simple round neck. So if you like, you can now make the kind of neck you want. You can extend the neck width, you can extend the neck depth, but this is just basic. Okay, so now I want to create the chest line, which is where the armhole stop. So that's the chest line. I just indicate by dotted line. So on this chest line now, I'm going to fix in my bust circumference divided by 4. Any measurement that goes around the body is going to be divided by 4. So my bust circumference divided by 4. So I'll be using 9 1/4. Then plus 2 inches for seam allowance. I think the highest you should go for seam allowance should be 2 inches. It can be lesser than that. Then my waist round also divided by 4. That will be 8. Then plus. Then before we conclude that part, let's fix in our dart, which is bust to bust distance. And I'll be using 4. That's nipple to nipple distance 4. So I measure this 4 on all the lines. Okay. Then from your bust point, you come down by 2 inches. I'm only drafting a basic dart now. From your bust point to come down by 2 inches. Then on the top length, now, not the hemming, on the top length, you go up by 2 inches also. Then you connect this line together. You come down by 2 inches from bust point and top length to go up by 2 inches. Then on the waistline, I'm going to measure half inch on both sides. Then I'll connect it just like so. Okay, so this is our basic dart. So after we've done that, you now fix in your waist round measurement divided by 4. Then the 1 inch for the dart allowance, make sure you replace it. Then 2 inches for seam allowance. Then you come to the top length. On the top length or on the hemming, you fix in your hip circumference divided by 4 also. You know the top is going to rest on the buttocks or on the hip. So that's why we are using the hip measurement. So the same measurement you have on the top length, you take it to the hemming. You take it to the hemming. So that's it with the measurement. Then I like to connect my points together with, especially the upper bodice to the waist with this cuff part. Then you can now use a straight line or you cuff it backward to do the down part. Just following the video carefully. Okay, so yes, and this is what we have for the front pattern. So remember the way we went through. So if you are going to do a peplum or a dress, you can stop at the waistline. That means you connect the down part at the waistline. But if it's just a top, you're going to make a complete one like this. So now let's drop the back pattern. So like we did with the front, you measure your bust point and your waistline. Since it's the back, so we don't need the under bust and the top length with the hemming. And please note, we didn't really make use of our under bust for the front. You only make use of your under bust when you are working with busties, princess darts, and all of that. But for this basic darts, we really don't need the under bust. So now I'll be measuring 1 inch for zipper allowance. So I'll measure this 1 inch first at the center back for zipper allowance. Then I'll connect the other points just like so. The bust point, the waistline, the top length, and the hemming. So for the neck, please note that your neck width, front and back, must be the same. But the neck depth for back, the basic neck depth is 1.5. Between 1.5 and 2. Or just use 1.5 is the basic. But remember, the measurement on the shoulder must be the same. Front and back, it must be the same. But the neck depth can be different. Then you measure the shoulder 7, and remember I added ½ inch for ease. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Remember we did the same thing with the front. Then we'll create the armhole like this. And remember how we'll calculate the armhole. Okay, so we'll create the armhole. Then we need to create the chest line because we're going to need a chest line for the back. Okay. So that's going to be our chest line. And that's the bust point, the waistline, the top length, and the hemming down. So now for the back, we don't need to go in by any inches for the armhole cuff. So just create a simple cuff, just the way I did. Then you measure your dart also. From the center back, I measured 4 inches. That's nipple to nipple measurement. Then from the from the chest line, measure the 4 inches. Then you come down by 1 inch. Remember, we'll come down by 1 inch. Then from the top length, you go up by 2 inches, just like the front. Since there's no breast at the back, so that's why our dart can really go up more. Then you measure the 1/2 inch on both sides. That's on the waist. On the waistline, you measure 1/2 inch on both sides and connect it this way. Then our bust circumference divided by 4. You measure it on the chest line and add your 2 inches seam allowance. Then on the waistline also, that's your waist round divided by 4. Then the dart allowance. Then you add 2 inches for seam allowance. Then at the top length or at the hemming, you fix in your hip round divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance. We are not adding that allowance there. It's only the seam allowance. Then I'll connect it together just like so. Remember, this is a basic bodice that we're dealing with, or a basic top. Okay. So this is what we have for the back. Then now, since this is a female dress and our back is not this flat, at the center back it's slopey. There's a contour, it went in there. So now we need to make this top more fitted. Okay. So in order to do that, after drafting this basic with your zipper allowance, just go ahead and remove some inches from your center back, from your waistline. Yes, at the center back. So at the waistline now, you can take 1/2 inch up to 1 inch, but I always stop at 3/4 inch. Okay. So from the waistline, I'll measure 3/4 inch. And that place I mark now is on the zipper allowance. But don't worry, when you are sewing this clothes, okay, still go on and measure your 1 inch for zipper allowance. Okay. You still have your 1 inch for your zip. That one is still there. But this is just to remove the excess at the center back, so that this clothes can be more fitted. So you just do it the way I did. Remove 3/4 inch, then blend it up slightly and take it down also slightly. You can see the way I'm marking that part. That means we're going to cut it out. So please, you cut it out carefully. So this is it for the back. So we're going to go ahead and cut it out, cut our fabric out just the way this paper is. You just place your fabric on the paper and cut it out just like so. Okay. So please, if you found this video helpful, remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. But remember, when you're cutting the fabric is going to be on fold. Okay, it's going to be on fold. The center front is on fold. The back too is on fold, just that the center back will be open since we've removed something from it. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.